Hi guys, good day and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, you're welcome. My name is Oluwatosin and this is So with Tosin. And to all my returning subscribers, you're also welcome, guys. Thank you so much for the comments, like, and everything. I appreciate it and I don't take it for granted. So in today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make this gathered, trendy, cute, and adorable Ankara dress. And to achieve this, we're working with measurements like full length bust, the waist, the half length, the armhole, and then the shoulder. We are going to be using this beautiful African print, our lining, the fabric for the yoke, the tool for the yoke, and then this strong net. Guys, if you make ball dress a lot or you make puffy dresses like this, you should try using this type of net instead, not the white one. This off-white net is the magic. It's very strong and it doesn't fall even after washing. It doesn't fall. It's just like that. Moving ahead, I went ahead to mark my shoulder. That which is 11, I divided it by 2. I marked my 5.5 and I did not add any allowance because this dress does not have sleeve. Moving ahead to the armhole, I used 5 and then I went ahead to curve the armhole. The next I'll be doing is measuring our bust. Our bust is 25. I'll definitely divide it by 4. Whatever answer it gives me, I'm going to mark that, and then I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Then our waist is 23 divided by 4 plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead to connect my points together. Then the next is to mark the neckline. It's a round neck. I used neck width of 6 and neck depth of 3 for the front. And the front is a round neck. The back is going to be a V-neck. We'll get to that. So moving ahead, I'll slant the shoulder. I'll just measure ½ inch downward and then slant the shoulder towards the armhole region. And basically that is it for the half length. The next I'll be doing is to mark the yoke. I used 5 as the yoke, so I'll just go ahead to cut it out, and then that is it for the half length. After cutting it out, I'll go ahead to label it so that I don't mix it up. So that is the upper part and that is the lower part, the down of the half cut. And then this half cut is like this pattern is supposed to be on fold of 2, but I didn't fold it, so I just put that sign there. That's to remind me that when I want to transfer it to my main fabric, that place has to be on fold. And because there's a particular pattern I'm trying to target on the main fabric, I just had to, in fact that was the main reason I used pattern paper initially. I would have just gone ahead to cut straight on my main fabric, but because I wanted that to be at the middle, like at the chest, that was why I used pattern paper at first. So I just placed that on where I want the front to be, and then I added ½ inch allowance. ½ inch is what I'm going to use to join the yoke to it. And basically guys, that is it. So moving ahead, I'll be using this same pattern to cut the back piece, and all I need to do is just to add zip allowance of 1.5 inch and still add the ½ inch allowance that I added for the front piece for joining the yoke. So transferring the yoke to the main net, this net is on fold of 4 because I'll be cutting 2 yokes for front, 2 yokes for back, because I'll be using 1 to turn 1. I don't know if you guys get. So I cut two yokes for front. I'll do the same thing to the back, but because I want the back to be V-neck, after cutting it out like this, I'm not going to trace this round neck out. I'll just go ahead to cut the V-neck the way I want it to be. Just follow what I'm doing. It is that simple. It's not hard at all. So that is it for the yoke. Moving ahead guys, I'll cut the belt. It's just a straight piece that measures 40 inches long by 4.5 inches wide. 4.5 because I want the belt to be 2 inches wide, and then I added ½ inch for turning, and I cut 2 for both sides. So that's it for the belt. So moving over to the lower part of the dress, that's the gathers itself. All I did was just to where the gathers is going to enter is 23, which is our waist. I went ahead to do 23 times 6. That's the quantity I'll be using. It depends on how full I want it to be. I can even go as far as 23 times 10. I can go as far as 23 times 12. Wherever is entering times, like, depending on how full I want it to be. You can even go ahead to use 23 times 5. I don't know if you guys understand. So I just folded that to a very small quantity that my scissors can just cut at once, and then I went ahead to mark the full length. I deducted the half length from the full length, half length of 11, then I marked the full length of 30, then I added 2 inches allowance, 1 inch for folding it down and 1 inch for joining it to the half length. So that is it, guys. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to cut the strong net and then the lining. So I went ahead to measure the whole length of these gathers that I'm having. It happens to be 19. So I'll be making the lining 16 inches long, then I'll be making the strong net 12 inches long. So here it is. I've cut it out. Hope you know that this won't be the arrangement. This right here is going to be the arrangement. I just placed it like that for placing sake. So moving over to cutting the lining for the half length is just to place it on the lining and cut the exact measurement. So for the sewing now, you start by facing right side to right side for the yoke, for the front and for the back, and then you go ahead to turn that. Now this lining, you run a gather stitch across it. The same you do the same thing to the strong net, and then you do the same thing to the main fabric. So at this point, I'd already turned the yoke. I flipped over the back panel, but I didn't flip over the front panel, but I turned it already because it's the front panel that I'm going to use to like turn the shoulder. So I'll keep that aside. I'll come back to it later. If you don't get what I'm saying, you're definitely going to understand when we get to that point. So the next I'll be doing is just pick up your yoke and place it on the half length, just as I'm doing, leaving. Just be careful so that you will not face the armhole to the neckline. You have to like watch carefully and understand what you are doing, because sometimes it might be deceiving. So just go ahead to place it the way I placed it, and then use your lining to turn it. Just make sure the right side of the lining is facing the right side of the fabric, then turn where my finger is running across. Do the same thing to the two sides of the back. I'll do that and I'll bring it back for you guys to see. So after turning, this is what I have. I already attached my yoke for the back. I've turned it, I pressed it. Everything is already looking neat. At this point, your work is supposed to be something looking like this. And guys, if you've not subscribed, please don't forget to do. So the next is I'm going to be turning the shoulder. The front yoke is still not flipped over yet, so I'm just going to insert the back yoke into it the way I'm doing, making sure that the right side of the back yoke is facing the right side of the front yoke, and I'll make sure that it is properly arranged so that nowhere is folded or pleated inside. Then I'm going to take that to my sewing machine and run a straight stitch across where my finger is running through. I'll do that to the two sides of the shoulder. So here is what I have. I went ahead to do that. I turned the front, I pressed it, and this is what it's looking like. Hope you have something looking like this too. So moving ahead, guys, the next thing is to attach the two belts before shaping. So all I have to do is just open it up the way I did, and then measure ½ inch upward from the down, and then just like pin the belt down on the two sides, just like I'm doing. And then I'll do the same thing to the other side too. It's that simple. It's nothing serious at all. So guys, if you've not subscribed, please support my channel by subscribing, and please share my video amongst your friends. Comment, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to give my video a thumbs up. So after pinning, after pinning the two sides, I'll go ahead to face the front panel to the back panel, making sure the right side is facing the right side. Then I'm going to transfer my measurements into this. I'll arrange it properly. I'll make sure it's properly arranged. Then I have to make sure the zip allowance is either lying down on each other or facing each other. I can even go ahead to pin it down so that it doesn't go out of like it doesn't scatter, because I can go ahead to pin it down. You can even sew it down and not like sew it with number 5, and you would not reverse, like you won't double stitch, because you are still going to lose it later. So transferring my measurements into this, I'll be dividing our bust, which is 25 by 4. It gives me 6¼ I'm going to mark that. Then I'll divide our waist, 23 by 4. Whatever answer it gives me, I'm going to put a mark at that point too. So the next is I'll be measuring our armhole, which is 12. I'll divide it by 2. It gives me 6. So I'm just going to measure the armhole and make sure it's up to 6, and at least with a little bit of allowance. Then I'll put a mark at that point. Then I'll go ahead to connect all my points together. I'll repeat this same process to the other side. I can do it now before taking it to the sewing machine. Then I can sew one side first and come back to measure, however convenient for me. So I just want to do it now before taking it to my sewing machine. I'm just going to do 25 divided by 4. Any answer it gives me, I'll mark it. 23 divided by 4, whatever answer it gives me, I'll mark it. Then I'll go ahead to mark her armhole 6. Then I'll connect my point together. It is that simple. Please guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please support me by subscribing, and please like this video. It means a lot to me, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So guys, after shaping this half cut, this is what I have. The next is I'm going to put a notch at the middle. I'll make sure it is at the middle. Then I'll go ahead to pick up my gathered main fabric for the lower part of the dress. I'll fold it into 2 also. Then I'll put a notch at the middle. This is my I also gathered the lining already. Then I gathered the strong net. Look at this net, it's already giving. It is sitting down on its own, even without using it yet. So I'll go ahead to put a notch at the middle of my gathered Ankara. Ankara, that's, you guys understand what I'm saying. Then I'll face right side to right side of the gathered fabric, and then the half length. I'll make sure the 2 notches are directly touching each other. Then I'll secure that with a pin. I'll pin it down. Then I'll take this to my sewing machine and sew from one side of the dress to the other side of the dress. Then I'll do the same thing to my strong net. I'll put my strong net to be the next layer. So I'm just going to put it on top of it the way I put on the half length. I'll make sure the center is directly sitting on the notch at the middle also. Then I'll go ahead to sew it down. So after sewing these 2 layers, the strong net and just the Ankara fabric, my dress is already sitting down on its own. Like, you guys need to start using this particular net. If you've not been using it, it is the best. It's a little bit pricey, but it's better. 1 layer can give you a reasonable amount of puff to a reasonable extent. So the next is I'm going to be attaching my lining to it, and to do this I'll make sure I use the lining to cover all these stitches, like all the joining. I'll use my lining to cover it. So I'll flip my dress over. I'll face my lining to the half length. I'll make sure the midpoint where I notched is directly on the midpoint where I notched for the half length. And then I'll sew from one side of the dress to the other side of the dress. After doing that, guys, look at this dress. At this point, you guys needed to see me. I was dancing, because you know when you are sewing and you are seeing what you are sewing, like it might not be that much of a big deal, but it is just a cute little dress, and I absolutely love the way it was like sitting down on its own. Like, I love the way it was puffing. So I was dancing at this point. So the next thing, guys, is to sew where my zip is going to be, and then the remaining part I'll sew it down. So to achieve this, I'm going to flip the lining up. I'll flip it up, then I'll make sure the half length is like equal, touching each other, equal. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean. So that after fixing my zip, it won't happen that one side of the half length is up and the other side is a little bit down with like few inches. So I'll just make sure I place it properly, and then I'll go ahead to mark the length where I want my zip to stop. For me, I don't want my zip to be too long, so that point is just perfect for me. Then I'll sew down what is remaining. I'll sew it down from that point downward. After doing that, guys, this is what I have. So the next is to turn that point, like to turn the joining. I'm just going to use the lining to cover it. I'll flip the lining back back to the right side, just like I'm doing in the video. I'll make sure the other side doesn't get in my way. I'll push it aside a little, kind of. Then I'll go ahead to use the lining to turn that place from the beginning till where the lining stops. Then I'll repeat this same process for the other part of the dress. It is that simple, guys. Please don't forget to support me by subscribing to my channel. Then after that, this is what I have. I went ahead to weave the small part that the lining will not cover, so that I can fold it down neatly. Then at this point, I'd already folded it down. I had already fixed my zip. Like, my dress is like 100% ready at this point. And so if you've been with me from the beginning of this video till this point, please kindly subscribe to my channel. So this is what the inside looks like. So that the strong net doesn't fray, I piped it with bias, and so that it will look more neat, I piped it with bias. And this is the inside of my dress. Like, I love it. Everywhere is so neat, both the inside and then the outside. Everywhere is so neat. So if you've been doing what I've been doing, at this point you should have something similar to this, or something looking like this. So this is the inside of the dress. Here is the inside, and then the outside as well. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please support my channel by subscribing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section if you find this video helpful. And then please like my video. When you like my video, it makes, like, it promotes my video. It makes YouTube to suggest it to a lot of people. Please share my video amongst your soulmate. So guys, this is the dress after sewing. It is absolutely gorgeous. And this hairband, I'm going to upload a tutorial, a short and simple tutorial on how I made this headband after this video. So I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.